Yeah. So, Jai Srimanarayana. So, we started discussing about the seventh shloka in the second chapter. So, which is considered by all our acharyas, purvacharyas, as the one shloka which prompted Sri Krishna Paramatma to teach the entire 17 chapters after that. So, basically, as we have been discussing, Sri Krishna Paramatma has been waiting uh, for a śiṣya, for a disciple throughout his avatara time. Right from the birth, he started showing the miracles, expecting somebody to come forward and ask him for the actual truth, like what is really matters, right? Being like a human, what is the goal of a human being or life of a human being? So those kinds of questions, I mean, that's what we do, right? So when we find somebody knowledgeable in some subject, we try to understand the essence of that subject from that person. We feel very fortunate if we meet somebody like that. So, and since Sri Krishna Paramatma, everybody regarded him as like some divine form. I mean, people may not have realized that he was Sri avatar of Sri Mahavishnu himself. Many people would not have realized, but they knew that he was capable of great things. In the sense, he lifted the Govardhana mountain, right? So everybody knew he was Govardhana Giridhari. So right from the childhood, he was showing so many miracles, expecting somebody to come and ask him, instead of asking for some materialistic favors, he was expecting somebody to ask this question. But nobody throughout his avatar's time, nobody asked him this question. There were scholars like Bhishmacharya who
Yes, yeah.
were, yeah, go ahead, sir. So, yeah, so people like Bhishmacharya and their great acharyas were there. They knew of his greatness, but they were already aware of these truths, universal truths, right? And those who were like uneducated, or maybe they were more towards um, like oriented towards the materialistic things, they got what they wanted from him, right from the innocent cowherd people with whom he grew up, um, from those people all the way to the civilized uh, people who you would consider as civilized, educated people, including his Acharya Sandipani. Right? He also did not ask him for that knowledge. Anyway, so he was waiting throughout his avatar's time for somebody to come and ask a question. And he knew that soon after the Mahabharata war was going to be over, that the Kali Yuga will start. So, and the time would pass. Like, so I mean, this is what our acharyas say, that before the start of Kali Yuga, because in Kali Yuga there is not going to be a avatara which is mobile avatara. I mean, the form of Archa avatara is there. So our Acharya says that in the Kali Yuga, it is only going to be Archa avatara. Archa avatara in the sense, the murti we have in our puja rooms are in the temples, right? So that is the Archa avatara. So there are 5 different avatars, right? That's so out of which the uh, the actual in the form of mobile form, like Rama, Krishna, Narasimha Avatara. So these avatars is one form which would not happen in the Kali Yuga, except at the end of the Kali Yuga, that Kalki, of course, that's a different story. But during the Kali Yuga, there is not going to be in a form like a human form, mobile form. So, um, he knew that he wanted to give the essence of this knowledge in a um, very short form, the entire essence of Vedas and Upanishads, in these kind of 700 slokas that he gave in the Bhagavad Gita, because people in Kali Yuga don't have that ability to comprehend that huge oceans of knowledge, right? So he just condensed everything. He wanted to condense everything and give it as a tool for people to live their life by. So those principles, those who are interested, like if somebody is interested to learn these principles, they would need this, right? So for that, he wanted in the Krishna Avatara, which is towards the end of the Dwapara Yuga. So he wanted to give, but throughout his lifetime, that Avatara time on this earth, nobody asked until this point, like when he was 90 years old, apparently, in the Mahabharata war time. And even Arjuna himself, as we discussed a few times before, he was not in a mood to ask any of these kind of philosophical questions. So in the first chapter, 23rd sloka, he said very arrogantly, let's go and look at our enemies. So that's when being Hrishikesha, Krishna, Paramatma, he started controlling the emotions of, he froze everybody else and started controlling the emotions of Arjuna. And and once once Arjuna started getting into that mode, so he lost all of his energy towards the end of I mean, because he was feeling this kārpaṇyam, right? We'll dissect the word kārpaṇyam in this, in today's session. So, in the first chapter, he was lamenting about all the soldiers, all the warriors who are going to die in this battlefield. But in the second chapter, the first few slokas, he concentrated only on his related Bhishmacharya, whom he loved, and Dronacharya, right? Who taught him everything he knew out of love, even more than his own son Ashwatthama, right? So it came to this point where until the sloka 6, he was saying, okay, I want to get out of this, right? I'm ready to get out of this. But so, and he wanted Krishna Paramatma also to justify his reasoning, right? They justify Arjuna's thought process that yes, you are good to quit this battle and go and take bhiksha. Bhaiksham api haloke, he says, right? So in the previous sloka, he said, it's even instead of participating in this battle, better go and I want to beg for alms. Um, so this but when it came down to the seventh sloka, suddenly he made a complete reversal. He was going completely in this direction of like, I want to get out of this battle for this. I don't, I'm not, I mean, you have to approve of this decision I am making. He's going completely in this direction, but suddenly in the seventh sloka, he made a complete U-turn, right? He complete U-turn. He said, I am your śiṣya, so please guide me. Śiṣyasteham śyādhimāṃ tvam prapannam. So he said, kārpaṇya doṣopahata svabhavaha pruchhāmi tvam dharma sammūḍha chetāḥ yachreyasyan nishchitam brūhitan me śiṣyasteham śyādhimāṃ tvam prapannam. So I am your śiṣya. Śiṣyah te aham. I am your śiṣya. Shadhi Mam. So give me an instruction, give me an order. Why? Because I am your prapanna. So I'm kind of I'm holding on to you. Basically, prapanna is the word which means that you are having a hold onto it, onto something, some kind of a asara, we say, right? With your manas. So we can physically, If we are being, if you are put in a flood of water, you are going just in the stream, suddenly you get a branch, hold on to it. That is like holding on with physically, right? But if you are holding on to something with manas, that is called prapanna. So prapatti, right? Bhakti, prapatti. So bhakti is different and prapatti is different. We'll get into that later also. But prapatti is kind of when you're holding on to something with your mind. So uh, the so he is saying, I am your śiṣya, and I'm doing this prapatti to you. I'm prapanna. So tell me, nishchitam bruhitan me, whatever has been decided, nishchitam, previously. Don't come up with something new theory, but uh, tell the what was decided as good for me, nishchitam, for a person like me, right? So previously scholars or scriptures would have said something about it. So tell me that, and because my mind, prichami tvam dharma sammūḍha chetāḥ. So my mind, cheta means my mind, is blank by the ignorance, basically, dharma sammūḍha. So towards the dharma, my mind is getting blank. So why is it getting blank? Because kārpaṇya doshopahata svabhavaha. So because I am bitten by something like kārpaṇya, dosham. Basically, kārpaṇyam is a dosham. Apahata svabhavaha. So basically, I'm being pounded, I'm being bitten by this dosham, which is called kārpaṇyam. So kārpaṇyam is a very basic meaning. What we know is that if you feel sympathy, so basically sympathy towards something, if somebody is suffering, right, that is a basic meaning. There is a deeper meaning in Upanishads that is different. We'll get to it. But the basic meaning that we know of kārpaṇyam is that the it is feeling of sympathy or compassion towards something or somebody who is suffering, who is having a grief, right? So that is what kārpaṇyam basic meaning is, right? So
is it pitiful?
Yeah, kārpaṇyam is, yes. Yeah. So kārpaṇyam is showing pity on something or feeling grief about something. So if somebody is suffering, you feel that kārpaṇyam. So kind of compassion towards something. Yeah, that we care or we feel for it. So that is what is kārpaṇyam. So, yeah, it is kind of pity, as you said also, pity, feeling pity towards something, right? So, but he is saying himself that it is undeserving, right? He is there. That's what we say, right? In our inner voice, his inner voice, antahkaranam, right? Arjuna's antahkaranam, which is his inner voice. Antahkaranam means inner voice. Inner voice is telling that, okay, this kārpaṇyam which you are showing towards everybody is dosham. He himself is saying he knows that it's a dosham because his inner voice is telling him that it is dosham. Typically, what we do is if somebody is having a kārpaṇyam, we feel that it's a good thing. Like Rama had this kind of compassion towards somebody or something. When somebody is suffering, we know from Ramayana that he would, if somebody in his kingdom, if somebody is suffering, he would go and cry more than those people. So that's what Ramayana says. That's why everybody loved Rama. So in a way, kārpaṇyam is a positive quality probably, but when it is shown in an undeserving manner or where it is not to be shown, then it becomes a dosham at that point. Kārpaṇya dosham. That's why Arjuna knew that whatever emotion he is feeling is a dosham. And he is expressing that. So this is a complete U-turn that he has taken. Earlier he was saying that it is a great thing. Hey, Those people, the Dhartarashtra's have, meaning the Dhritarashtra's sons, relatives, they don't have common sense, and we are better people, right? So he was talking like that in the first chapter. But now, all that kārpaṇyam that he was feeling, he knows that it is dosham. So the so that is what he is saying, surrendering, sharanagati. He is doing a sharanagati in this slokam to Sri Krishna Paramatma. So I am doing sharanagati. Prapannam is nothing but actually, so when we lose control of if we are in a battle, either with some situation, when we are put in a situation where we are helpless completely, like Gajendra, right? In Gajendra Moksham, he says, Nive tappa nitapparam verga mannim pantagu drave ishvara kavave varada samrakshimpa bhadratmaka. So Gajendra, when he was fighting for many, very long time with that crocodile, which was pulling him inside, he became eventually helpless, and then he prayed. I mean, he did the Prapannam at that time, right? So, so that is the feeling. As I was saying, if you are in a stream, you are going away in the stream, you are helpless and you hold on to something. So, holding on to something, or maybe complete surrendering to Sri Paramatma, when you are feeling helpless, that is what is Prapanna. So, so I am doing the Sharanagati to it. That's what when we become Prapanna, when we pray for guidance or help, we are doing the Sharanagati. So Arjuna was doing Sharanagati to Sri Krishna Paramatma. It is your responsibility. Whatever way you drive, take me, whatever. In this loka, it's very clear that whatever you tell, I'm going to follow.
Follow you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, so he was, so, śiṣyasteham shadimam. So that's why this Sharanagati he has done, because of which Bhagavad Gita is born. It is also called Yoga Upadesham. Yoga Upadesham. Basically, it kind of, so this, because this Vishada, which Arjuna's Vishada, or this Krupanata, right? Krupanata is causing the Vishadam in him. Krupanata is the pitiable state, basically. So, so showing the kārpaṇyam on somebody. So basically, because of Krupanata, if we become inactive or lack of action, completely, because if because of the excessive grief, if we are becoming inactive, in the sense we are not able to do any work, just plumped in one place and can't. So that is a pitiable condition, right? So as opposed to when you are arrogant, that's what he was in the beginning of the chapter one. So from the arrogant state, he came. So and I can't decide what is good or bad. And now in this sloka, his state of mind, it is kind of ripened, right? So ripened a fruit. So when we consume a fruit, when it is right in condition, right? When it is ripe, that's when we like to eat, and and in this condition, Arjuna is feeling that internally, inside from in his inside of his heart, that word came out that he wanted to get the direction from Sri Krishna Paramatma, and that's what our Upanishads and our scriptures say, is that until somebody asks you something, you don't teach them, right? So, and it's like. Give food only when somebody is hungry, then they can digest, and they feel they can enjoy it and they can appreciate it. Right? So that's what our Acharya says. So, and this is what Krishna is doing to Arjuna, right? I'm kārpaṇya doshopahata svabhava. I came into a state of being overwhelmed by this dosham, a fault called kārpaṇya. This fault is within me. So, and there is a saying, Bruyuh Shishnaya Snigdhasya Guravo Guhyamuttamam, meaning so this knowledge, this Atmajnanam, according to our scriptures, is very, very guhyam. Guhyam means
Hidden.
secret. Yeah.
Hidden.
Guhyam is hidden secret, basically. It's a hidden secret, but it is hidden for a purpose that it cannot be revealed to those who are not seeking it. That's so the when somebody is and somebody who is not deserving it. So when something is very, very powerful, like what we see in this even today's world, if some very secretive government documents are there, they are guhyam, meaning they're protected so that people don't misuse it or abuse it, or and it doesn't fall in the hands of people who don't deserve it. So, because they may misuse it and they can probably, if they are not ready to receive that kind of knowledge, they can probably misinterpret, and then it will unnecessarily cause chaos, right? So that's why our Shastra says this Atma Jnanam, or this is a very is very secretly kept. So it can only be revealed to a śiṣya who is brūyuhu snigdhasya śiṣyasya. So tell to only the śiṣyas, and who a guru who is uttamam, guruvaha guhyam uttamam. So this guru tells only to those śiṣyas or students who are having bhakti and humble, basically. So 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 I am your best student right now. So, but in this sloka, these two words which are highlighted here, right? kārpaṇya is a very pitiable condition, as we discussed, which is showing compassion where it is not deserving, right? kārpaṇya, and then there is another word, yat śreyasya nishitam, right? Śreyas meaning whatever is good for me or good for anybody, right? Basically, that's the basic meaning. But in Upanishad, it is it's a very profound meaning is there. So there is a and these words which Arjuna threw out here, he threw these two words very unknowingly, actually. So when our acharyas put this in context, this slokam, and then they look at the Upanishads, how these two words are used in the Upanishads, right? We will come to it shortly. These two words, kārpaṇyam and śreyas, very deep and profound words, but Arjuna used those two words unknowingly. He used in a very basic commonsensical meaning, but Krishna took it the deeper meaning of these two words. You understand what I'm saying, right? So when we do something which is like, for example, our acharyas give is that if you touch fire unknowingly, whether you touch it knowingly or unknowingly, still it burns, right? And even a good thing, so basically Haryashtakam, we read the slokam, right? Hariharati papani dishta chittairapi smutaha anichchayapi samsprushto dahatyeva hi pavakaha. So anichchayapi samsprushto dahatyeva hi pavaka. Pavaka means fire. Dahati, it burns. Anichchayapi samsprushta, when we touch it, even unwillingly or unknowingly, still it burns. So that's why actually even so that applies to negative things and also positive things also. Our Acharya says like that when we do tasks, even unknowingly, if you do something good or which has a positive result for others, then it shows effect. And the same thing applies to the negative things that come out of our actions also. Knowingly or unknowingly, if you touch fire, it burns. So even if so unknowingly you run around a temple instead of running around a mall, something like that. So that's the example they give, acharyas give, is that so so that way at least at some point for some part of the time that you're going around the temple, you are seeing the temple, and that is having a positive effect on you. Rather than going around the mall, it is kind of mind is completely driving in different directions, right? So unknowingly, if you are going around something or doing something good, it has its a positive side effect, and that is called anushangika sukrutam. So, or yadruchika sukrutam, meaning sukrutam means a good task, good deed, anushangikam. So, it is accidentally it is happening, yadruchikam. So, now in this case, it is a yadruchikam that he threw these two words. Arjuna. You're seeing, right? The kārpaṇyam and then śreyas. What he threw, these two words in this loka, what he said in this loka, they are anushangikam. So, but when Sri Krishna Paramatma, he took the deeper meaning. So, when basically Arjuna asked him, tell me right now what you want me to do. Do you want me to fight? Okay, I'll go and fight. Or do you want me to get out? I'll go get out. But the Krishna Paramatma could have just said, okay, yeah, go ahead and fight, right? Do your responsibility, duty. It would have been end. But he did not say that. And he took this opportunity. He was waiting for this opportunity throughout his avatar's time to give this the 17 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. I mean, 18 of course, but the first chapter is all Arjuna's saying. So that's why our Acharya says is that when basically these Anushangika Sukrutams, so come when we inculcate good habits, either in the company of good people or when you are in the company of like maybe you are learning something positive like spiritual stotrams are doing. So we may be doing mindlessly sometimes also, but still some part of it sticks to us, and that can do anushangika sukrutam. So so whenever you get time, that's what they say. That's why our ancestors they were even without many materialistic things, they were very happy, and so they led a very balanced life, right? So so now the inner meaning of these two words is the in Upanishads. So there is a Bruhadaranyaka Upanishad, right? So where in that Upanishad, Yajnavalkya is a great rishi. He was having a discussion in a king's court, and there were many scholars around, right? So there came two questions. One is who is a Krupanata, who is a Krupana, meaning who do you call Krupana, right? And who is a Brahmana? So these two questions came in that court, and there was one of the great scholars of that time was Gargi. Gargi was a woman, very highly respected Vedic scholar, spiritual thinker. So they were all in that king's court, and the debates were happening. This question came, and Gargi asked this question, and she said, when actually, apparently, that in the scripture it says, if you answer me with any prejudice or condescending manner because I'm I'm a woman looking down upon me, you will be punished, something like that. She wants him to be very, very straight on these questions. Who is a Krupana and who is a Brahmana? So in that sloka, Yajnavalkya Maharshi says, Yova etadaksharam gargi aviditva asmallokat praiti sakrupanaha अथय एतदक्षरं गार्गि विदित्वा अस्माल्लोकात् प्रैति स ब्राह्मणः. So, saying, hey Gargi, whoever leaves this world without knowing the Akshara Tattva. Basically, whoever leaves this world, what is Akshara Tattva? We'll come to it. The something what we deserve to know because of this human life. If when everybody has to leave first at some point, right? So if somebody leaves this world without knowing the imperishable Akshara Tattva, is a Krupana, is somebody who needs to be pitied. Right? But one who departs after knowing it is a true knower of Brahmana, meaning Brahmana. So there are two different extreme opposites. One is Krupana and the other is Brahmana. So, this secret, if getting the life of a human being, one who leaves this world without realizing the Akshara Tattvam, who leaves this world after knowing it, if they leave the world after knowing it, then they go in a Shreyo Marga. So there are two different margas actually. So they say in the Garuda Puranam also when they say study it, there are Shreyo Marga and Preyo Marga. So this is all in scriptures. Nobody has physically seen it, but it is the scripture that is telling us. So one who is not a Krupana, meaning somebody who has realized this Akshara Tattva, meaning the one which is imperishable during this lifetime. So he did not waste his life, and he or she, so a person, and who left this world after realizing this Akshara Tattva, he goes in the Shreya Marga, in the right path. But who spends time without learning about it and just spends time about like a lot of other things, right? About entertainment or laziness or whatever is somebody who is called Krupana. So, and um, there are like two different things are like due to the prajna prabhavam, you get tatvika sakshatkaram, meaning that by practicing or doing the things which are prescribed by the scriptures. I mean, in this case, we can take Bhagavad Gita. I mean, we don't have time to go through all the Upanishads and Vedas, and we don't even know, right? In this Kali Yuga, I mean, we have a lot of other things also going on, right? So at least this Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of the Upanishads and Vedas, for instance, right? So if we learn this, then that is Tatvika Sakshatkara. Yes, sir. Okay. So, so if we learn about it and so, I mean, basically, according to our scriptures, it is a vicious cycle of births and deaths, right? So that's what we are going to learn in the next when 12th to 38th sloka in the second chapter is going to talk about this. But we have heard before this vicious cycle of life and death. Fortunately, when in this we have the human form life. It's very difficult to get a durlabho manushodeha, right? The very difficult to get a human life. And when on this earth, every living being has a soul in it. Just like we have a soul in this human body, we are the soul in this human body. There are other souls in like dogs or any animals, deers or even insects or bacteria. Everything is a soul, right? So these and they don't have, they are non-human life forms. They are like karma bandham. They live according to their karma, but they don't accumulate any karma. Only humans have the ability to think this philosophically, and that's when the Yajnavalkya's answer is, you are given this ability, true ability to learn this Akshara Tattvam as a human being. And if we live there without knowing it, this world, then we are Krupanas. So, and so that means if you don't want to be Krupana, then we should know what that thing is. Right? So now if you connect it back to here, Sri Krishna Paramatma, what he did, even though Arjuna, as I was saying, right, when unknowingly or unknowingly you touch fire, it burns. So unknowingly he put a word Krupana. That's it. So Krishna Paramatma took the meaning from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. What Krupana there is, he took that meaning. So he considered that Arjuna is asking the essence of how one should think or one should do or live so that they are not Krupana, kārpaṇya dosham. In order not to get the kārpaṇya dosham, how do I live? What do I do? So that is the question, as if Arjuna is asking that question. He took that meaning. Arjuna did not intend to ask in that fashion, right? We all know. Arjuna is saying simply that, okay, I'm getting this too much of grief because of which I'm becoming Krupana, Karpanyam dosham is being there. So, but Sri Krishna Paramatma took the other meaning. And in this case, like actually, so since even the person who is asking this question, Arjuna, if somebody like Duryodhana or somebody asked, they are bitten by Krupana or Karpanyam, Krishna Paramatma would not have given any or even told him, he would not even receive it. Right? So but Arjuna asked for it, and Arjuna is deserving, as I was saying, bruyuhu śiṣya snigdhasya, as I was saying earlier. So Arjuna fits all those qualifications. And so, but a person like Duryodhana does not fit anything. So even if he is Duryodhana or Dhritarashtra, they wouldn't be given this knowledge. But Arjuna is the right person to ask, and that's why he is role model for us. And he became the person through which he was channeling this energy or this knowledge into, which is going to be delivered to all of us, right? So, uh, so so that is and so this Karpanyam is like another example that is given is like something like we hear of people who who get a jackpot. Jackpot in the sense we call jackpot in India. It is called lottery, right? The lottery ticket. Somebody hits a lottery ticket. In many cases, we hear that the person who got jackpot within a few years, what happens to them? Or not for everybody, but in many cases. Have you heard any stories? Anybody?
They lose all the money. But
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. They become bankrupt.
He'll not only lose the money, you lose himself.
Yeah,
True,
exactly.
true.
They lose their nature and ability. So yeah, they're undeserving people. Of course, not for everybody, but they become bankrupt and they lose everything. And then many people that's the end of their life for them. And unfortunately, they were living regular, of course, hardship, no money, poverty life they might have been leading before. But once they are hit with this huge jackpot, they did all the things wrong throughout the next 2 3 years, and then they just kind of disappear or pranasyati, right? So the and that's like our human life. If somebody doesn't use it properly and lives completely opposite of what is stated in the scripture or even regular life, they're like the person who got the jackpot, but we all hit jackpot really. Actually, according to our acharyas, we all hit a jackpot out of these millions of living forms around us. We are the one human being, and this human experience we are getting it, and we really already hit a jackpot by getting this human life, right? So that's what interesting concept. And if we don't appreciate all the time all these things, right? We are okay. We are human beings, just like as many other human beings are there. But so they but there are many other life forms. Now, um, the body, if the body is given as a means for the soul, right? When this soul is going through journeys, multiple journeys, like this life, birth to the end of the life is one journey of the soul. And then it's just like getting off of a train and then getting onto a bus. Next life starts, right? That's so. So during this human life, the body is given as a tool, but the soul is permanent, eternal. But the body is temporary, right? So if soul is eternal and body is temporary, what do we need to give as importance, right? Something which is more permanent, we give importance to it. I mean, very common thing, like in our day-to-day life also. If something is long-term, that's why we say long-term strategy, long-term vision. That is important, not just the immediate. I mean, if somebody is giving today 10 rupees, and if they say $10, and then tomorrow, if you wait for 3 days, you will give $100, you will go for 100, 3 days. So kind of think of the long term, and which is more beneficial. So Acharya says is that Atma is eternal, soul is eternal, body is temporary, and spend we don't spend all the energy on temporary. But in this case, most of the times we as a human beings we spend on temporary things rather than the eternal. First, this when we, at least knowing the first step, knowing, eventually we probably will do practice. Many great souls are there out there. Actually, they have shown the way before. But one who is intelligent will learn about the long term Atma and do the right. So um, now. So he asked for Shishyasteham Shadimam Prapanam Yashreyasya Nishchitam Bruhitanme. Right? So which is even without wasting even a second of a time and do good and but learn what is good before. Right? So we need to know what is good and what is bad. So the and what is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad again? Yeah, Yajnavalkya Maharshi says before leaving the body, there is a tattvam called Akshara Tattvam. I mentioned, right? We just touched briefly on it. Akshara Tattvam is which gave this body as a soul, as a tool to the soul. Like Akshara Tattvam is something which is that entity or that being which gave this body to the soul. And that Akshara Tattvam has the Vikuntha as the abode. And that's what is in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Yajnavalkya Maharshi says that. And that abode, that in Vikuntha, that is also called Narayana. And later he says that it is in everything that drives the soul of the or the Atma. Right? Eka Devo Narayanaha, Deva Eko Narayanaha. So that's what is, and it exists in every object. Narayana, Nara means every being, what we see. Ayana is supporter. I mean, supports from inside and then supported outside. So that's the Narayana word. And then we learn this when Acharyas give us the Ashtakshari Tattva. That's very, I mean, that's, we also call Samasranam, right? Acharyas give Samasranam when they give the meaning of this Narayana Tattvam. And so which the supporter. So that's a longer, bigger subject actually. We have to learn from our Acharyas only. So that's what is there in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So so that gives the essence of what he asked, but Krishna Paramatma took the meaning which is given in these Upanishads for the kārpaṇya. And the śreyas also, he is asked in the terms of what is good for me. Tell me what is good for me. In that sense he asked. But Krishna Paramatma took the meaning from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where Yajnavalkya Maharshi said, if somebody is not a Krupana, they will go in the Shreyo Margam. So Shreyo Margam is something which is, as I was saying, the Garuda Purana, it says, you go in the Shreyo Margam when you do the right thing. You know about the things what you're supposed to know and do the things which you are supposed to do and not do the same things which are not supposed to do. Then at the end of that, you go in the Shreya Marga. So, and he interpreted Arjuna's question as if Arjuna is asking, how do I live my life? So I go in the Shreya Marga. So Arjuna's asking sense is different and Krishna's taking the meaning is different. So he took the Shreya meaning. So obviously, of course, a student has asked this question. So I have to give this 17 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So that's why he taught, Krishna Paramatma taught these 17 chapters of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Otherwise, he could have just said, okay, oh, you want to just follow my instruction? Okay, let's go and do your responsibility to fight. That's it. So, and so that's, yeah, before we wrap up, just one other thing, what he was saying also about that whoever lived according to the, right, that's that sloka to Kargi, he said, then he said, whoever lives like this is a Brahmagyani, right? And this Brahmagyani can be anybody, like it doesn't have to be born in one nation or one race or one particular caste or anything. Or Acharya says this Brahmagyani can be anywhere. This soul, all souls are equal. So he said the Brahmanaha can be anybody, not just one person belonging to one sect or one family, one clan or anything. So that's why whoever has given this great knowledge, like Alvars, Alvars were the great saints who belonged to different castes or races in the southern India. So they are all worshipped almost equal to the Paramatma. If you go to Tirumala or Srirangam, all the great temples, the Alvars are situated there. And most of them are, except Periyalvar and Goda Devi, they were the actual priestly families. But rest of them all are from different kinds of families, different professional backgrounds, families. So, but they are still worshipped equal to the God, and we call them all verse and pray to them. So, they are Brahmagyanis, and they are Brahmanaha. So that's what is said in the Yajna, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So long story is that, so Arjuna asked this question when he threw unknowingly two words, Krupana, I mean kārpaṇya, and the śreyas, and which have a deeper, profound meaning in Upanishads, and which Krishna Paramatma took those two meanings and he laid that this became the foundation for the entire Bhagavad Gita. So all this in the coming 17 chapters, and that's why he goes into this meaning of like what is Atma. In the second Sankhya Yoga, mostly it talks about Atma and then how human beings become Sthita Prajna. It's a very, very interesting chapter. Second chapter, if we learn, that's it. He told everything that needs to be taught in the second chapter, or Acharya says. And then everything else becomes like expansion on this. So the reason he gave this is because of these two words. And that's why this seventh sloka becomes very important. So that's where I think we wrap up for today. Any comments or anybody wants to say anything about it? Feedback or questions?
Jai Srimanarayan.
Jai Srimanarayan.
Jai Srimanarayan. Yeah, thank you. And so we'll just chant this sloka at the end, and maybe Kirtana, do you want to repeat, Amma?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So कारपण्यदोषोपहतस्वभावः हतस्वभावः
हतस्वभावः
actually it is अपहतस्वभावः
अपहतस्वभावः
पृच्छामि
पृच्छामि त्वां
धर्मसम्मूढचेतः
धर्मसम्मूढचेतः
यच्छ्रेयस्यान्
यच्छ्रेयस्यान्
निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे
ब्रूहि तन्मे
शिष्यस्तेऽहं
शिष्यस्तेऽहं
साधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Okay, Jai Srimanarayana. We'll stop with the ending slokas. Go back to here it is. Om Agninaya Supataraye Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidwan Yuyodhyasmadjuhurana Bhuishtante Nama Uktim Vidhema Om Purnamidam Purnamadaha Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah Om Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha. Jai Srimanarayana.
Jai
Jai
Srimanarayan.
Srimanarayan.
Jai Srimanarayana. Yeah.
Jai Srimanarayan.
Jai Srimanarayana.